Okay, hello guys. Hope you're doing well. This is your girl Minabel. Welcome so much to this channel, guys. Welcome so much. And this is part two of our baking tips. And this is what happened to me when during my baking journey. And I want to share with you the mistake which I did so that you don't do it on your baking, guys. Now, when you bake, make sure first your hands are clean, things like that. Here I'm just talking in general, your hands are clean in general, guys. Make sure you don't do this. Okay, guys, the baking mistake you didn't know. Let me tell you guys about this thing. Mistake number one is not to prepare your things or to take each and everything on the same thing or on the table. Make sure you have prepared each and everything for baking, for mixing, things like that. Make sure your pan has already been greased. Make sure your flour on top of your table. Make sure butter, sugar, eggs, each and everything, set it properly. Wash your hands for the hygiene, for the health. Yeah. So if you don't do that, guys, the things which will appear on your baking, you will never imagine. Sometimes you can forget things due to what you didn't prepare your things. Example, there is a day, guys, I went and what I started to blend. I started to mix this, what we call it, butter. I just started with the butter, then I said I'll make sure to add what? To add sugar. So because each and everything was scattered, guys, you know what happened? This is what happened. I forgotten, and at that time, after mixing, I saw like my mixture, it is well for me to put eggs. So I went and I added the eggs. You know what? I didn't even added any sugar at that day. Then each and everything I did. So I placed it on the this oven, and I said it is right. You guys, my cake, when it came out, it was like a ugali. It was like a fruit inside. I don't know ugali. I don't know anything like. I didn't get that day. Then I just started crying because it was a cake for the client, and the time was going on much because he gave me on the spot on that day. So I started crying. Then I said sorry to the customer. Then I shifted the order to my friend. Then my friend did that job, and that is how I lost money. I lost second mistake you didn't know. It's about overmixing. When you overmixing, okay, when you overmix what this we call, when you overmix butter and sugar, it creates a gluten. So even our flour has a gluten, has so much gluten. So the thing which will appear there, guys, it will create a strong gluten on between flour and the butter, and this called the tough cake or cake in a home. I don't know, it's be like, and also it is cracking at the top. I'll show you the way it is. Another thing is measuring incorrectly ingredients. Don't measure, or don't ever, maybe you went to the shop, they measured exactly what thing you want to bake, and I know each and everything is okay because I measured them. Please, my dear, make sure you measure it again. Make sure you measure correctly your things. When you do even one ingredient incorrectly, each and everything will be bad and to be a problem for you, and this will be a very consequence at your cake. Example, when you add too much, maybe you didn't measure, or you measured but you've forgotten your ingredient which you measured. Example, when you measure butter maybe 250, and when it comes to flour you measure 200 grams. These 200 grams and 250 grams of the butter, they doesn't matter. They doesn't match. And know that butter and the what this we call it, the flour, they have to match in measuring. And yeah, so when I want to tell you, take a note about this. When you add too much oil or you add too much butter at your ingredient rather than any ingredient, or the butter is a lot rather than this we call a flour, your cake, it will have oil all over, and the cake it won't come out well. It will be bad, and it will be like, I will show you like the way you see this cake here. Another thing, when you add too much flour and the butter is in a small, maybe your flour is 250 and your butter is 200 grams. My dear, that is wrong. Your cake will be more, it will be tough. It's not a cake, it's like a bread. I don't know what we call it, and this is the way it is. I think you see it. I think you see it the way it is. This is the way it will come out. Also, when you measure any ingredient, maybe a lot of milk on your cake it won't come good. The cake will have it will be too much liquid, and the cake won't come out well, and I will show you. Also, maybe you don't make these mistakes. Make sure you measure your ingredients correctly, my dears. Using the third one. The first one in preparation, the second one in correct ingredients. The third one, guys, this is what we call using baking powder expired, or it is open for so long. You open it, you measured the baking powder, and at that time, after measuring the baking powder, you forgot to cover the baking powder. Guys, it will not work at second time. The strength or the strongness of the baking powder will reduce, will be at low point. So make sure you do what? Make sure you measure your make sure you don't use expired baking powder or baking soda. For baking powder, for you to know that this isn't expired or is expired, make sure the baking powder, use some hot water. Use a hot water, or even at low temperature, maybe that's the same one. Maybe the hot water. Take the hot water, take your baking powder at your bowl, then add. If it will make a foam, or it will make a bubbles, then continue with it. To baking soda, take your baking soda, and this we call what? This we call vinegar. Take baking soda on a bowl, then take your vinegar, add there. When you add, it will show you. When it makes bubbles or a foam, then continue with it. But if it won't do that, please don't use that baking soda. It is totally not the one for you to bake your cake. Rather than that, your cake will be bad and it won't work. Okay. Mistake number 4. We're using cold ingredients. Using cold ingredients during preparation of your cake. Example, for those who are using cold milk from the freezer, from the fridge, don't use that thing. When you use cold ingredients, it will never, your mixing or your mixture of the cake will never combine well. it won't combine. The materials, they will never combine together. So it will make a better, I mean, it will make we are calling it evenly baked cake. Evenly baked cake, yeah. I'm sorry, that's what sometimes makes me. Okay, but it makes even what baked cake. That cake, I sometimes do it like that. Which one, I don't know, it has too much oil. I think it is like it's having too much oil, things like that. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the fifth mistake you didn't know about baking, or if you're a beginner, know this mistake. Okay, we call it substitution of the ingredients. Substituting of the ingredients. Guys, don't do this. Don't substitute ingredients. Maybe baking powder is 5 grams. Then baking soda is like maybe 10 grams or even 2 grams. Then you substitute. The baking powder you measure as a baking soda, and the baking soda you measure it as a baking powder. That it is totally wrong. Guys, here I'm talking about maybe example on a cake and a chocolate cake. You have to eat chocolate cake and red velvet, fruit caramel, and black forest. We are using all 2 ingredients together, baking soda and baking powder. Don't substitute those things. Or maybe you are mixing your butter and your sugar, then you are adding milk at that time, which is not even good. Stop that quickly. Don't substitute ingredients. Baking, it is a simple, but you will make it to be hard due to what? Due to your minds, due to the measuring ingredients and substituting ingredients. When you substitute ingredients, your cake is going to be good for sure. I'm telling you. Okay. The sixth ones, number 6. The mistake you didn't know, it is about not creaming your butter and your sugar correctly. Make sure you cream your butter and your sugar correctly. Make sure you see the smooth of the what. Make sure you see the smooth of the what of your mixture between sugar and the butter. Rather than that, your cake sometimes it will come out tough like that. The first one which we are talking. Also, the cake won't be good at all. Okay, yeah, things like that. And also, the cake, when you don't cream well, the cake will appear with the color, the color of the butter. If your butter and your sugar is not correctly creamed, I mean. Make sure you cream your butter and your sugar together till you see the whiteness of the mixture and the softness. Make sure the sugar is not, when you touch this, it's so smooth. Yeah. Okay, another thing. Okay, the 7th one, I can call it measuring of the flour incorrectly. Taking this alone about measuring about measuring the flour incorrectly, because this is a big mistake us or we bakers will do. When you bake, when you mix, when you prepare your things, make sure your flour and the butter are at the same measure. If it is 250 for the butter, make sure that the flour is 250. Don't reduce, don't add. Don't make even to 6. It is wrong. Don't even make your flour to be 240. It is wrong. I will show you when you add more flours. You add more flour, which is not the same measuring as the butter, and the one which it is reduced. Maybe it is 240 and the butter is 250. I will show you of the cake. I think on the next slide here, you're gonna see it. Make sure you do that. This is the 7th, I think, tip. Okay, the eighth one, the eighth mistake. The mistake related to number 8, greasing lining of your baking pan. Make sure you grease or you spray your pan. When you don't spray your pan with the oil, or you don't grease your pan, especially on those lines, especially you can grease maybe at the bottom without that lining which round the baking pan. That's the most wanted lines to be greased, so that your cake to come out well. When you don't do that, your cake will come half, because the cake will be attached with the pan. So when you take it off or you take it out, it won't come out, rather than it will break half and half. Half will remain at the bottom of your pan, and the half will come out, and I will show you. But the other thing I think which do this thing, when you take out the cake after from the oven, you are just taking it off. That it is not even good. When you after taking off, or after opening your oven and taking off your cake, don't remove it from the pan first. Let it cool. Just wait for it to cool within the baking pan. Then after that, you have to take it off. Yeah. Okay. Another thing, number 9, maybe we can talk about opening the oven at early stage of the baking. You have placed your cake on the oven. Then after 10 minutes, you are going and open. The air will enter and will make the cake to stick. When you open quickly, without the mixture of the liquid to attach well and to start to raise, the mixture have this, we call it baking powder. Baking powder, it's having the work of raising. So when you open that process, it will be, the air will enter and the cake will be sick between there. Yeah, it will sit down, and when you take off your cake, you see like there is a hole. And when you take what we call this, when you take a knife and look at that point, you see the cake is not cooked well, or it's not baked well. Yeah, I can say it isn't baked well. So make sure don't open, we call it oven at early stage. Make sure at least from 30 minutes, and make sure your oven you set at the room temperature. Make sure if it is 180 to 150 is the temperature which Tanzanian we are using. 150 to 180 for this for Tanzania, 150 centigrade to 180 centigrade. There between them, we are just, that is what we are using to set our ovens. Yeah, and because when the heat is too much, also it will make your cake to break when it's raised well, but it will break. I will show you the picture. It will break and it won't be good, or you will burn your cake and things like that. Your cake, then it is coming out like a black mamba. Guys, make sure you don't open your oven. At least 25 to 30 minutes, you can start opening your oven and looking if your cake is ready. If it is not ready, maybe it's like after 5 minutes from that time it will be ready. Yeah. Another thing, guys, I don't want to forget this. I think that this will be the 10 tips of a thing that you didn't know, the mistake which you don't know, you didn't know during baking. And if you are a beginner, this is your part. Listen to this so that we're just helping you get this time, because us, we were not having someone to teach us. We were just busy, we are just there doing mistakes. But now I'm telling you, beginner, this is yours. Make sure you don't make your mixture to sit even a 10 minutes. After finishing, make sure you take it on your baking pan. After that, place it on your oven. Don't make it to sit or maybe for 10 minutes, I don't know, 30 minutes. When you make you are letting your mixture or your mixture to sit even for 10 minutes, it is like the raising agent is taking place. After the raising agent is taking place, it is like the mixture is just seeing like we are starting. I think I'm starting to bake, so it is rising. After rising, then you are coming and take the mixture and you place it in your oven. This it will be the big mistake. Your cake won't be good. It's something, it is like it's when you take it off, it will having a bit some holes. Even it is not, it doesn't have the sweetness. Okay, thank you so much, you guys, for watching, and our next class will be more good. We're still having some tips to teach you guys, so make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment, share and like, and thank you so much. It is your girl Mary God, and welcome again to the next class. I love you guys.